So, as I say in the beginning of this show, I'm the editor of the Gold Coast Gazette, a weekly newspaper. And in the printing business, we have a thing called printer's gremlins, and that's what we blame all our typos on, is a printer gremlin. And there was a video gremlin, apparently, in the first episode of this show that we interviewed Judge McCord. So we asked Judge McCord if he would do it with us again, and he graciously did it.
My pleasure.
Thank you, man. Okay, can you hear me now? All is good. All right. Judge, thank you. Let's continue where we actually left off. You are running again for judge, right?
Yep, this will be my fourth term. If the people of Glen Cove deem it appropriate to re-elect me this year.
Fourth term, and how long is each term?
6-year term. It's my fourth term as the supervising judge of the City Court of Glen Cove, and then, as you know, I served for 7 years as the associate judge of the City Court of Glen Cove under Judge Patrone. Mm-hmm. So I'm very excited about it. I look forward to it, and hopefully the people will give me another opportunity to serve as their judge in the future.
Yeah. Now, when is the election? That's in
November.
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 Okay.
It's the general election.
Right. And so how did you get into judgeship? And you're an attorney, correct?
I'm an attorney. I'm a bankruptcy attorney at the law firm of Tillman, Ballin, Adler and Hyman in East Meadow, and I'm allowed to do that since the city court judicial position is part-time, so I'm allowed to do both. Our court is part of New York State Office of Court Administration, which means it's a New York State court that sits in Glen Cove, and there's certain rules and regulations incumbent with that that I must comply with, the whole court must comply with, and so we do, and proceed accordingly.
Mm-hmm. And then, so as a kid, did you want to be a judge, or what was your...
Yeah, my great uncle, on my mother's side, was an administrative judge in the Bronx, and growing up, when he would visit, he would tell us stories about, one, being an attorney and how exciting it was. So that really led me into the law. I had, as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be an attorney. And then, two, when it became a judge, how exciting and challenging it is, and it is challenging. I think every lawyer, really, or an attorney, would like to be a judge someday. Mm-hmm. So that was my goal.
What is challenging? The most challenging?
Well, making sure that you administer justice in a fair and impartial manner to everyone, and take each case separately and individually, and as if it's your first one, because the people that are involved, to them, I have found, it is the first time for many of them to be in a court and involved in the legal system, and it's very important to them, and you can't really ever forget that. I have to always keep that in mind, that the people I'm dealing with, even if it's a case that I've dealt with similar facts in the past on many occasions, like some of my cases that come into this court are, to the people involved, it's not similar at all. It's very important that the facts of their case are adjudicated fairly, and I just want people to leave here feeling that justice was served and they were given their fair day in court. Some people have to win a case, some people lose a case. So I'm quite sure the people that lose a case are not too terribly happy with me or the court. But I think more importantly, it's that they say, all right, I'm not happy with the outcome, but at least it was a fair process, and that's the most important thing to me.
Right. So one of the things that you like to be is very good to the youth and help out the youth, right?
Yeah, I feel it's important. My father used to say that the youth is our future. I think everyone agrees to that. And kids are kids, they make mistakes, so you've got to kind of walk a fine line, but you've got to let them know that there's penalties that you have to pay for doing something improper or illegally. And so I try to deliver that message to them when they appear before me. Try to let them know, for example, speeding or any vehicle traffic-related offense, a traffic ticket. It's not a constitutional right to have a driver's license in New York State. It's a privilege that can be taken away, and that we're all required to comply with these rules and regulations for many reasons. For where we live here, it's congested, a lot of traffic, a lot of dangers out there. You could be driving fine. I tell my daughters that, Courtney and Amanda, you could be driving fine, you could be following the law, and the next thing you know, somebody else does something crazy and you're both in an accident. And that's how it happens quite often. So you've got to be a defensive driver, and you got to follow the law and the rules, because that's what they're written for. That's why the speed limit in Glen Cove is 30 miles an hour. The roads aren't meant to go faster. So you shouldn't go faster. And I also want the youth to have a positive experience. So that, as you know, I have a teen court program. I've had it since the year 2000, thanks to people like Senator Carl Marcelino, who helped me get a grant from Albany to fund it. And it gives me an opportunity to introduce the legal system to the youth in our community on a positive basis, without them having to be afraid and apprehensive if there's a criminal charge against them of some kind. All people, youth, adults, anyone, are very nervous when they come in. Under the teen court program, they come in, they take over the court, they serve as judge, jury, prosecutor, defense attorney, defendants. They're real cases, and they adjudicate their peers, but they get an experience of the legal system quite often for the first time, in, I hope, a positive manner. Dr. Laria from the Glen Cove School District has been extremely supportive of the program. We have I think, received some very positive results over the years, so I'm very happy about that. And that's another reason why I'm concerned about the youth.
And what issues are they facing today?
Well,
for driving, it's the texting, right? That's a scary thing.
Yeah. These kids, they just don't realize that even for a split-second distraction while you're driving, to text or to dial a number or to receive a number, that's how fast you could get yourself into a jam, especially if you're an inexperienced driver. That's really a challenge. Talking on cell phone without a hand-free device, that's not just limited to kids, though.
Right.
You go out, you go downtown at any one of these busy intersections in Glen Cove, and you'll see the majority of people drive by talking on the cell phone. That makes no sense to me, because you get the cars nowadays all have hands-free capability, and if they don't, you could buy it.
Right. Yeah.
For a very inexpensive price. There's no reason, but they're out there. And thanks to people like our Chief of Police, Bill Whitten, and the rest of the police department, they're out there. They're issuing tickets because they come into my court. I see them frequently, and there's a fine. It's not cheap. And now the law has been passed in New York State. Talking on a cell phone without a hands-free device is now 3 points on your license. So if you get a ticket for that, it's serious. So you should be careful. And
what are the other issues that people are facing?
We still have a fair amount of driving while intoxicated cases with the kids and with adults also. That seems to be a steady flow of that. It's a concern that we all have to deal with. The Nassau County District Attorney's Office, through Kathleen Rush, she's pretty tough on that, and rightfully so. And our policies here are pretty strict. I, for the most part, try to impose immediately upon arrest directive upon the defendant that they should undergo counseling. Even if it's the first time, it's just, I think, very beneficial that they learn what can happen with drinking and driving, and some substance abuse, but it's more alcohol-related offenses that I see.
Right. Wow. Now, you're very involved with a lot of different organizations in the area, and was it your uncle who told you to always keep involved? Or?
Yeah, keep involved, keep out in the community. Our administrative judge in Nassau County Anthony Morano and our supervising judge for the district courts, Christopher Quinn, are also very supportive of the members of the judiciary getting out in the community and getting involved. We just don't want people to think that we sit here in a bubble and don't know, don't really feel the pulse of the community and don't understand what's going on out there. We're very sheltered, and that's not really the image that I want to convey to the people in the city of Glen Cove or anyone that comes into this court. So I get out. I'm a member of a lot of fraternal organizations. I'm very, very involved with the YMCA of Glen Cove and also of Long Island. Ed Bogan is the executive director here. We've been working together for 30 years. We haven't seen you down there in a few months, so you better get going.
I get back on that trend.
That's right, and we're keeping count. And then, of course, Mike Famaletti and Ann Bridges, YMCA of Long Island, try to promote programs for all ages. Healthy mind, healthy body. It really, I believe in that. I think it works. Help release stress, deal with the challenges of life. Programs for kids. Got the Zumba classes now. That's the big hot thing for the ladies, and the aquatic programs are really good. We live on 3 sides of Glen Cove are on the water, so I know when my children, again Courtney and Amanda, were little, my wife Marianne and I decided that they're going to learn how to swim at a very young age, and that's they were taught at the YMCA. It's funny, the instructor then, this young man named Peter Foster, is Ed Bogan's top assistant now over in Glen Cove. So it's funny to watch these young members of our community rise up to be successful career people and have families of their own. So I enjoy that.
Good. So what's the message you have for people of Glen Cove regarding the court?
Well, Glen Cove is a city, one of 2 on Long Island, along with Long Beach, and we have a lot of things here in our city that go unnoticed until you really need them. And that's really where I give credit to the first responders that I deal with. I deal, of course, with Chief Whitten and the Glen Cove Police Department all the time. I deal with the Harbor Patrol. I deal with EMS, Chief Venturino on the EMS, Chief Leftwich at the Fire Department. And we're really fortunate in Glen Cove to have such professional people in all those areas to help us when we need it. And they come through the court for various reasons, and it's really a pleasure for me to work with them. And I really didn't know about their expertise until I started sitting on the bench and started dealing with them. And I think the people of Glen Cove should know that they feel safe. They should feel safe in our city based on all those people. A lot of them are volunteers in the EMS and the fire department. We have an excellent police department, and I hope everyone thinks you have an excellent court. Because we try hard, we try to act in a professional manner and try to make sure that everyone that passes through this court, for whatever reasons they do so, leaves feeling they received a fair and impartial treatment. And that's my goal.
Excellent. We're in your chambers,
Yes.
which is your office,
Right.
in a sense.
Right.
And some of the things, can you point these
Right.
out to us?
Well, this is one thing that I'm extremely proud of. In 2010, I was selected as Person of the Year for a National Night Out Against Crime, sponsored by the Glen Cove Police Department. So that was quite an honor that they gave me, so I was very happy about that. There's other awards here from the YMCA, from Glen Cove Cares. I have some press releases that I'm very proud of from one of our more prestigious newspapers in New York State, Gold Coast Gazette.
Thank you.
The editor, who's the editor? I forget who that is. Oh, that's right, Kevin Horton. And these are just things I use when I have trials to keep handy. And of course, this is the whole reason why I do what I do. This is my family, the love of my life. My wife, Marianne, my daughter, Courtney, and my other daughter, Amanda. I have some memories from 9/11. I lost a very close friend in 9/11, and there's some more awards down there, and just some reminders of what I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
as the supervising judge at Glen Cove.
That's great. Thank you.
So.
Someone just tell me why. Which way do I go from here? The road that I've yet to see. How will I find myself? Who am I going to
All right.
be?
I'm here with Sergeant Jack McDougal,
And will I
and
know
we're going
the
to talk about the many years you've been with the Glen Cove Police Department.
Yeah,
Jack?
I feel like a rookie.
When did you start with the Glen Cove Police Department?
January of 1984.
When we first met, you were saving a duck behind the Glen Cove Firehouse. You remember that story?
I'm going to pretend I'm in court and say I don't recall any of that.
Come on. You were famous for saving that duck. Tell
No,
us
I
about
absolutely do. And as a matter of fact, that's what helped me get started in the schools. I was told about a duck that was down behind the firehouse, and it had one of those six-pack rings stuck in its mouth between its bills, and it was swimming around behind the firehouse, and people were concerned about it. So I took it upon myself, with the assistance, it turned out, with some firemen and a couple other police officers, to rescue the duck and get the plastic ring off its mouth. And from there, I was invited to parents as reading partners at the Glen Cove Elementary Schools. And I picked the book Make Way for Ducklings to read to the students. And as a part of that, I incorporated the taking care of your environment and explained to the children how to cut up the six-pack rings, how not to litter, how to keep the environment clean and safe for themselves and wildlife.
Right.
And partly it's your fault because you publicized it so much and followed me with pictures.
That was a great story, and it was a great introduction to the two of us. It was a lot of fun. And from that, people now are asked to cut up the rings and all that stuff. So
No, they call me and I go over and cut them all up for everybody. No, yes, a lot of, when I talk to students now, a lot of them know about it, and a lot of them actually bring the story up. I'll go
Right.
into the school now and some of them will say, you're the police officer that saved the duck, aren't you? It's great to be known that way with all the other things I've been involved in.
Right. Now, some of those things that you've been involved with, now you're at the schools all the time mentoring the children.
Well, what happened is, we have a program called the PRIDE program, and that stands for Peer Resistance Instruction Drug Education, and it's taught in the 5th grade. And I was invited, after I was reading at PARP and at the different elementary schools, I was asked by the department at the time if I wanted to participate in the PRIDE program. Chief Witten was a part of the PRIDE program at the time. And I did it and I enjoyed it, but I felt there was some changes. It needed to be updated for the students. Young people, 5th graders, they're very, very sharp, very smart, way ahead of where I was at that age. But then again, most people would tell you everybody's way ahead of where I am at whatever age I'm at. But so I got involved with the PRIDE program. Chief Witten told me that someday, if he ever gets to become chief, some of the ideas I had for the program he'd like to institute, and he stood by his word. And when he became chief, he invited me up here and asked me if I wanted to work with the schools and institute some new programs, and I was very happy to do it, very happy. And the chief believes that education is just as important or more important than the enforcement part. He understands, and we all understand, we have to write tickets and make arrests, and it's an unfortunate part of the job, really, but education's a very important part. Part of what we changed with the PRIDE program was that there was a part of the PRIDE program about self-esteem and teaching kids to have good self-esteem and feel good about themselves. And I always felt that that needed to be changed a bit because it wasn't really the correct message for young people. So we added discipline and good values to that lesson plan. And the kids get it, they understand. What I explained to them was, I would rather you be a good person with lower self-esteem than a bad person with high self-esteem. So it wasn't all about having good self-esteem and feeling good about yourself. It was to be worked out with the idea that you need to have discipline and you need to have good values. So we talked to the kids about character building, good values, and how to discipline themselves, how to step back before they make decisions and think.
Excellent, excellent. And it's all about keeping them off of drugs, keep them from bullying? The cyberbullying is a big issue that you guys have addressed.
Yes, as a matter of fact, when they graduate, we have bands, they're pride bands. And it says on the inside, I'm proud of the person who I've become, and I'm proud of the person that I will continue to be. And we give that to the students at the pride graduations, and that's the message that we try to leave them with. We teach them about the dangers of tobacco, and as part of that, with the help of Mr. Smith, who's a 5th grade teacher at Landing School.
Actually, Mr. Smith was our first front page cover of the Gazette, as a matter of fact. He's a great guy.
Very good guy,
Okay.
very smart teacher, very good to get advice from as to what to teach and how to teach the 5th grade students. And what he suggested was that we teach the kids to become more media savvy. So we don't only teach them about the dangers of tobacco, but we teach them about the tricks and what commercials and what people try to do to get them to start using tobacco. How they design the packages, the words, the cartoon characters, how they try to get young people interested in starting to smoke, which is brand new to the Pride program. We added that. We teach them about the dangers of alcohol. We teach them about peer pressure. And bullying now, we've added 2 classes to the Pride program about bullying, cyberbullying, and sexting. And we teach the kids 2 aspects of bullying. One, that it's wrong to bully somebody, obviously. Nobody should put their hands on you. Nobody should call you names and make fun of you. One of the things I tell the kids when I go into classes, I ask them, I say, do you know what I did last night? They don't. It's really none of their business, and I tell them that. But I said, can anybody in this class tell me what I did last night, every minute of last night, where I was and what I did? They said, no. I said, do you know what everybody in your class did last night? And again, they'll say no. I said, so if somebody last night, for example, my dog, I was very close. I loved my dog dearly. I spent a lot of time with my dog. I loved having that dog around. I said, if my dog passed away and I came into class the next day to teach you, how do you think I'd feel? And to a person, the little kids will tell you upset. They'd be upset too. I said, so if I came into school and sat down and I had lost my dog or something had happened in my family that upset me, do you think it would be right for someone else in the school to start making fun of me or teasing me about something else to make me feel worse? And it gets quiet in the classroom, and the kids are getting it. They understand it when you put it to them that way. I said, who comes to school in the morning and says, you know, my goal today is going to be to bother somebody or hurt their feelings? It's wrong. You shouldn't do it. And we also teach by the same token that to a point you need to be strong and expect that people are going to have their moments where they're either jealous or just mean for that day and they want to pick on you or bother you, and you need to have confidence in yourself and know that what they're saying about you isn't true and that you're a good, decent person. So there's 2 aspects. One, we don't want kids to go bully people, and the other is we want other kids to realize that even though they might be being bullied, they need to be strong enough and confident enough that there's nothing wrong with them. And they can always, I tell the kids, and so do the other Pride instructors, that they can go to them and talk to them. And that's one of the best things about having police officers in the school. There's more contact and it's closer and more personal when you have police officers in the school talking to the young people.
Right, well, that's been your thing all along. I remember being on the street with you talking, and there'll be a teenager walking by and you'll be, hey, John, come over here. I want to talk to you. And so you've always been that way since you were a rookie cop, I think, on the beat.
Yeah,
Being good with the
enjoy
kids and enjoying the kids and stuff, and keeping an eye on all of them at all times. So.
And they're all basically good kids. Everybody makes mistakes. And they just need to have it reinforced. What's right, what's good, how to behave. We all need that. Even as we get older, some of us need that, I've been told.
What are some of the things that kids face now that are so much different from when we were growing up? You know, the internet, the texting.
Big time. The cyberbullying, it's so much easier now to criticize someone, or you can hide on the computer.
Right.
It's one thing when you go face to face. The bully might have to be bigger or stronger or a group. But now anybody can bully on the internet. Any coward can, because you can hide and say things about people. And unfortunately, when you're sitting behind a computer it's easier to try and hurt someone else's feelings because you're not confronting them face to face. You'll say things that you might not have said if you're face to face with the person. And one of the newest things that we're dealing with is this sexting, sending photos partially clothed or
And this is starting at like what age?
well, it's starting from around the country in the middle school and even a little lower now, 6th grade. And we're trying to get the message to kids that that picture's out there. It's always out there. Once you do it, you can't call it back. You can't get rid of it.
And you can't delete it. It's out there forever. Yeah.
And by the same token, we're responding to that with new PowerPoint presentations. For example, through the Youth Bureau, the Glen Cove Youth Bureau, Miss Charmaine Clark works at the high school, and she works very closely with the students too, and she invited me to speak there at what's called a brown bag lunch. So you can go down and you will present the topic, and the students at the high school can get lunch and come down and sit in the room and see the presentation. And with her help, we were able to put together some PowerPoint presentations. And they were successful. The one on heroin was very good, and the one on sexting, it was the largest group that they had there. There were teachers that came down and sat there. There were students sitting in the aisles between the chairs and tables to see the presentation.
Wow.
And it's because the word got out that it's good for them, it's to warn them, it's to help them make better decisions so that they're not in the sometimes tragic situations that some students across the country put themselves in by sexting, sending pictures of them partially clothed. You know, boyfriend, girlfriend at that age, they're most likely not going to stay together forever, even though sometimes they think they are, and occasionally it does happen. But when you send pictures like that, and people aren't mature enough, they have an argument, they'll send those pictures out to other people to hurt a person's feelings. And once you do it, it's too late to make amends for that. And the other person that gave the boyfriend or girlfriend a picture of themselves is totally humiliated and embarrassed. And it's a hard way to live, and people can be very cruel about that.
And what's a message to parents that parents should be aware of, and maybe how they can watch over this?
Parents, up till a certain age, in my opinion, it's probably through junior high even, the computer should be where the parents can see it. There's a lot in a spot where maybe we're in the living room or playroom or kitchen even, where the student, if he's using it or she's using it to do their homework, the parent can keep an eye on it. And also, the parent should show interest in what's happening on the computer. If the student is saying that they're speaking with friends, or and sometimes their behavior will change while they're on the computer. They'll get upset because of messages they see. The parents need to pay attention, see those changes, and question their student, just like they would talk to them about the use of drugs or alcohol or anything like that. They just need to show interest. And unfortunately, some of the events we've been in, we've gone, and the parent seems less responsible than the student sometimes when we end up going to the house to try and figure out what the problem is. People need to understand not just laws, but how to act. Young people need to be good people, grow up to be good people, and we try and help with that in the schools. The students are very respectful. Sometimes I think it's funny because I can turn and look at them, and they're quiet, they're paying attention, they ask good questions, and I've been very lucky as far as that goes, my relationship with the students in Glen Cove, as far as there's no heckling, there's no laughing, there's no talking, they pay attention, they're respectful. I'm very impressed with the way, when I'm able to give presentations, with the way they behave.
Excellent, excellent. Jack, we've known each other for a really long time,
I
and
will admit to that.
I've always admired you, and I especially admire now the stuff that you're doing with the youth, and I know Glen Cove really appreciates it. Thank you for
Okay.
being on the show.
As long as you promise you're not editing that last part out.
No, that stuff is keep it, definitely.
Kevin, thank you for everything, and you've helped make it possible. When I first started my career here, your coverage helped lead to this.
Cool, cool. That's
Thank
good
you.
to hear. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for watching. All right, thank you for watching Kevin's Corner TV. I want to thank Jack McDougal for being on the show. It was really great. Everybody enjoy. Thank you.
And Kevin, there's no hard feelings about that duck story you told about me.
Jack. Jack, I'm sorry about the duck story. Really, come on back. What are you doing?
Good
No,
show.
Jack. Thank you for watching Kevin's Corner TV.